Reports are heating up and they continue to link the New York Knicks to three-point specialist for the Detroit Pistons, Bojan Bogdanović. And according to reports, he's actually recovering from injury and could be returning soon. And according to an NBA insider, he reports that multiple teams are actually linked to Boban and could trade for him to improve their roster. And one of the main teams on that list are the New York Knicks. We're going to break down this report, see exactly what they're saying right now, and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Reports are heating up and they continue to link the Knicks to Detroit Pistons three-point specialist Bojan Bogdanović. Now, we recently did a video on this where we covered an initial report suggesting that the Knicks were interested in adding Bogdanović to their team. And now, another NBA insider in Sam Amico from HoopsWire is actually reporting on this as well too, and he doubles down on the report and lets us know that a number of teams are looking to trade for Bojan Bogdanović, including the New York Knicks. According to Amico, small forward Bojan Bogdanović has yet to appear in a game this season, but given the young Pistons are going nowhere fast, he's expected to be heavily pursued by contenders once he's cleared to play. Both the Knicks and the Heat have been mentioned as potential suitors for Bogdanović, 34, who averaged a career-high 21.4 points in 59 games played last season with the Detroit Pistons. The Cavaliers and the Lakers also expressed interest in Bogdanović last year and could again this season, depending on how things go for both between now and January or February. Something interesting to note is Detroit isn't totally close to the idea of trading Bogdanović, but the Pistons really like his veteran presence and productivity and would be seeking young players and or picks. Great update here by Sam Amico from HoopsWire. Really appreciate this. And obviously, we already knew there were reports linking the Knicks to Bogdanović since last week. But these reports have gotten stronger and stronger and stronger, especially as he's coming back from injury and will soon be returning. And if he starts to play, his value is going to rise because once he starts to shoot, people will realize and remember that he can shoot. And then once that happens, you're not going to be able to stop the phone from ringing from the number of teams that will be looking to add him. And it's not going to only be teams that are looking to contend. It might be teams that are at the bottom looking to add veteran presence to their own team, just like the Detroit Pistons wanted to do when they added Bogdanović in the first place anyways. So it's not going to be surprising to see any other team in the league want to do the same thing. But I expect contenders or teams that think they're a couple of pieces away to add Boban in order to improve their roster, especially if you need three-point shooting. And that right there is the main reason the New York Knicks will always constantly be linked to Bogdanović as long as he's staying with the Detroit Pistons and hasn't been moved yet. Because the Knicks, more than anything else, need more consistent three-point shooting. And Bogdanović just checks that box immediately. He will help immediately. He is an instant upgrade to any team looking to add backup power forward depth and looking to add better three-point shooting. He adds all of that and then some. He is something that the New York Knicks need and likely needed since last year, and they still need it today because they never addressed that need even going into the offseason. They re-signed Josh Hart, signed Dante DiVincenzo, didn't do anything else. The depth that they have, they don't utilize. So they need to sign a player that they will actually use and play. So that way they can help take off some of the burden from a lot of the starters who are playing extra minutes because we do not have enough depth to cover some of these positions. That's why I think it would only help the Knicks to try and look at what it would take to get this move. The interesting part here is obviously Detroit did mention that they want young players and picks. So a lot of times people are asking, what about those protected picks? If you could swing some protected picks, maybe some second round picks, and you could swing a young player or two, Or maybe give them that veteran presence they want back in Evan Fournier and make some type of trade work, I might be more acceptable to have this trade go down and get Bojan to come on this team. However, it's only if the trade makes sense. Because if you ask me, does it make sense to give up one role player plus picks to get another role player? In my opinion, it doesn't. No matter how good that role player is, or no matter how badly we need that position filled, we have to make the right decision when it comes to the Knicks. Just because a player is available doesn't mean you have to trade for him. If the trade does not make sense, if it does not look right, then you can walk away and see at some point down the road if you could potentially make that trade again, or if you're lucky, make a better trade. And it's always about that. Never devalue an asset, or if you do devalue an asset, double down on that by giving up draft picks just to move it. Because you make one situation that's already bad worse, and there's no need to do that. But going back to this report here, it is interesting to note that the Knicks are going to have heavy competition in order to add Bojan Bogdanović, because no matter what team you are in the NBA, you're always going to need more size and you're always going to need more shooting. And he does all of that and more. So of course he's going to be a hot commodity, so I don't think Detroit's going to have any problem trading him. The only issue is, who potentially will they have to trade him to? Because we know the Knicks, and to an extent, we know the Miami Heat. What other teams are going to be on the table, potentially, that the Knicks will have to worry about if they look to trade for him? According to Amico, the Heat, the Knicks, the Cavaliers, and the Lakers are all legitimate playoff contenders, but they may be a notch below the true threats for an NBA title, and Bogdanović conceivably could help push any of them closer to that upper echelons. The Heat, the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Lakers. Those are the top 4 teams that are likely going to target Bojan Bogdanović if and when he becomes available by the Detroit Pistons. And you got to figure it's only a matter of time. If the Pistons continue to lose and they spiral out of control, no matter how good of a guy that Bogdanović is, they're going to have to make a decision that's best for the team. And it won't make sense to keep an aging veteran on your team who's going to lose value year after year after year and not get any picks or young players back for him and continue to lose. It's not going to make sense to do that. So I anticipate Detroit making him available at some point this season, and the Knicks, among other teams, calling to see what it would take to trade and get him on the roster. And I think that if the Knicks can get this deal cheap or done cheap, Leon Rose would be all over it, and he would absolutely do it. The problem is, everybody knows that if he's available, a lot of other teams are going to go after him. And if the Knicks are not comfortable giving up picks or players, I know another team will be. And they could get outbid and lose their opportunity to get this player. And it's not the first time we've seen this happen with another player, potentially, that the Knicks were linked to, that they just didn't get because they didn't want to give up enough assets to get the deal done. We've been here before, so it's like the Knicks to be there at the finish line or near the finish line, but just not cross it. And it wouldn't be surprising to me to see the Knicks put themselves back in that position. Do the Knicks need more three-point shooting? Yes. Do they need more size? Yes. Do they need a proper backup power forward for Julius Randle? Yes. Bogdanović checks all of those boxes. I want him on the Knicks. I want the Knicks to trade for him if and when he becomes available. But that trade package and what Detroit ultimately, finally, looks for in a trade will determine if the Knicks go after him. I just hope it's a cheap enough deal where Leon Rose is okay with it, jumps at the opportunity, and makes that trade. Because if it happens, the Knicks can continue to shore up their bench and help them in a situation where they absolutely need a shooter. They'll have one available if they were to make this deal. I think it helps everybody if it's fair. Only time will tell if the Knicks and the Pistons will do business. The good news is, since Leon Rose has taken over the Knicks office as president, Detroit and the Knicks have done a lot of business. So, signs are pointing in the right direction. But what about you guys? What do you think about this entire situation? Do you think that the New York Knicks potentially should go after and try to sign and get Bojan Bogdanović on this team, or should they avoid him and go after a different player? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.